here's the attack we're dealing with. The roundhouse punch defense. And in the process of implementing our defense, what you're going to find is that we're going to do an outward block, but this is a minor move in terms of our defense. Because what we're going to do within this technique is we're going to turn our defense and offense into one. So we have an offensive defense. And let me show you what I'm talking about. So when he punches, there's our defense. Okay? I'm meeting him to beat action, meet action. As he punches, I'm meeting him with my counterattack as I'm simultaneously performing my outward block. And that's a minor move. I can't emphasize that enough. This is one of the best methods you can use. When you can combine your defense and offense so that they're working together, that's the best strategy. If I had to block his attack and now I'm countering it and so forth and so on, by the time I block one of his attacks, there's another attack coming and we get stuck in defense mode. So if instead when he throws his punch, you can see, now I went to the chest just to illustrate, because some people will say, well, that's not going to work. That's not going to take energy out of his punch. But you can see that if I'm striking him at the same time I'm blocking, this really truly is a more minor move within the technique, because now my strike is taking energy away from him. You understand? Okay, so that's the initial movement, what I want you guys to do. We're going to go through the technique step by step, but this is probably the most important lesson tonight, which is just this offensive defense, okay? And we're going to let you work on that for a minute, and then we're going to come back because there's a little more detail involved here that I want to point out. There's some subtlety to this movement, actually. So it's a pretty important movement. Let's spend some time on it, okay? Partner up. So next part of this technique that I want to address, it's the nature of how you're delivering the movement. So when he throws his punch, this is our counter, right? But when you're performing the movement, I don't want you guys bringing the hand up too high too early. I want you to come in low and you track, you contour up the body, and that obscures the strike. He doesn't see it coming quite as easily, okay? It makes it even more difficult for him to react and to defend. So that's the next tip. It's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. Start working. Go ahead, punch. Just get this to travel, like I said, up. Contours up the body, and then you're rotating it over just like a corkscrew punch. At the end is when you're turning it into your opponent, okay? All right, so try that. Then I'm going to give you the rest of the technique, but I'm telling you, right now, that part of the technique is one of the major lessons I want you to get out of it tonight, all right? Go ahead. He throws his punch. I strike here. Now, 1, 2, 3. All right, these are quick. I've hit him high. Now we're alternating height. We're manipulating the height. From here, he doesn't see this coming now. Bam, I come in low. And this should be 1, 2, 3. They're quick. All right, you're not playing around down here and then trying to sneak another punch in. You have to have the proper timing. So 1, 2, 3. All right, that right there is turning him and checking that arm away for the time being. Now as I come back on guard, this is helping to negate and defend if need be against another attack from this side. And what am I going to do next? I'm going to go after the legs, because I want to move in close to strike him. So in the next part of the technique, we need to do something to negate the legs. I'm not going to give that to you just yet, actually. We'll work on just that first part. So he throws his punch, and you're going to start with this, boom, here, and then 1, 2, 3. Okay? Work on putting that together. Go ahead. All right, so what do we have? He throws his punch. That's where we are. Now, I'm going to kick out this leg. I'm going to kick out that leg. What does that do? It checks his height. I'm elongating his base. If all of you actually try this, if you're standing neutral, maybe a horse stance or a fighting stance, and you go to throw a kick, it's easy. Elongate your base. Now throw a kick. There's a time delay. So he throws the punch. We catch him here. 1, 2, 3. At this point, I kick this leg. I use an inward leg check. I kick out this leg. Now we're going to come down, marriage of gravity, and we're going to strike into the throat. And then this ending should look familiar, which is why I'm giving you all of this at once here. I'm going to strike the throat. How many of you know Raining Claw? I'm going to come in with a strike here. This is going to roll back around, and we're going to strike him here, and then we could cross out. Okay, so that's the combination.